Hello, people, and thank you for joining me and my friends on the Game Files podcast. My name is Matthew, and I will be hosting discussions on all things dice throwing, button mashing, page turning, and screen viewing, from the past, present, and future of those things that occupy our spare time. Hello, and welcome back to the show. I am Matthew, and today we have a great show. But before we get started, let's introduce our fellow hosts. We've got the ever-present Ryadus.
Hello, good to be here.
We've got returning Bewitched.
Hello.
And another returning guest, Abbey.
Hey, everyone.
So today is kind of something we've already talked about this for about the last 10 minutes, and I'm like, we need to get started. So basically, we are going to talk about superpowers. Very relevant today. About every other movie has something to do with somebody and some powers. Every show coming out on every streaming service as powers, and you know, it's either powers or police. That's what it always seems to be these days, or some other weird nonsense. But anyways, so we are going to go ahead and get started with powers, and I'm going to just jump right into this and get started. So what superpower or powers would you like to have, and for what purpose? So we're going to start with probably one of the most nefarious members of this podcast, Ryadus.
Go ahead, Beth.
Nefarious.
Who's Beth?
Nefarious, wow. Yeah, Bewitched. I don't know. So there are so many powers out there to pick from, and the average person's always like flight or telekinesis. I don't know if this is going to fall under nefarious, but you're probably going to say it is. But the two that I would probably definitely want. First one's wormhole creation, which is pretty much just boom tubing from DC.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's teleportation, but with none of the downfalls, and I can take multiple people with me fairly easy. And also doing a little research on it, apparently DC, the boom tubes can go any place or time if you have enough control over it.
Got it.
So again, like I said, that would be the other one. And then, of course, just because of my personality, would be the cosmic manipulation. Give me the Silver Surfer's powers. So basically, Ryadus
wants to have the ability.
You said nefarious.
Well, it didn't
be anywhere,
have to
go
be
anywhere,
nefarious.
do anything.
I figured yours were going to be nefarious.
Necromancy.
Yeah. They don't have to be nefarious, guys. I'm just saying. Yeah. I know that Ryadus is going to be nefarious.
No, I'm going to say neither one of those I would use too often for selfish gains.
You have heard
for my commute.
You know what's funny about this? And I mean, we'll go on a hair of a tangent. So when I put my daughter to bed tonight, occasionally we'll watch these videos, and it's this YouTube channel called What If, and it had to do with time travel. And so they talked about the butterfly effect, and I could definitely see Ryadus going back and like, I'm just going to go back and, you know, keep this guy from doing this thing, and then he's going to come back to the future, and we're all Nazis. See,
that's the thing, though. I wouldn't, because I'm smart enough to understand that effect.
You think you're smart enough to understand that, and then something happens.
You're going to start going backwards. You're not going backwards that far, at least.
Then you think you're smart enough to correct it without screwing up stuff.
Oh yeah, no.
We've all seen that. We've all seen that Simpsons episode.
Yeah, no, I'm not going back that. If I had time travel is one I would definitely not want, because again, that would be too much of a temptation for anything. But even with the boob tubing, it would only be days or hours going back.
That's what everybody
just
says.
Enough to where be able to not. Oh yeah, I have no desire or thought process that going back and killing a Hitler is going to make the world a better place. Or anything along that line.
I'd probably try it.
I know the cause and effect.
I'd probably try it.
I don't. Yeah, I also don't accept the Avengers Endgame time travel theory. Whenever Hulk is getting the time stone, and the Master talks about, you know, this is my timeline. If you go back and change this, it shoots off to a different timeline and destroys. No.
Yeah.
Multiverse of madness.
I'm just saying, if you wanted to go back in time to kill Hitler, he did serve in World War I. I think that would be a good time to kill him. Just like, oh no, stray bullet. It's a war.
So
it's a war.
We'll talk about time travel on another podcast.
Yeah. Because that could, those would be my two big ones.
Those are two big ones. Those are the biggest ones.
But if you're going like, okay, let's just, if you're a little bit more realistic and not, altering all of reality with your powers, without the negatives, I think super speed would probably be a nice one to just.
That'd be sweet.
One that's not all reality altering. Of course, my personality is if I had powers, I want all alter reality. Just by chaos magic would also be very tempting.
He just wants to be a god. So.
No, I just want to be able to stop anyone else from being able to be a god.
Oh, nice. So Bewitched, let's put you on the spot here. What superpowers would you want? She's like, well, I was going to be this and this, but now I want to be...
Yeah. No, so I think mine has kind of always been the same. And my 14-year-old told me that I'm basic, and I don't even care. So the powers that I would like are teleportation, which, Ryadus totally just crapped on. I don't even care.
No.
I want teleportation and telekinesis. Telekinesis is, I've always found to be one of the most useful superpowers. You can use it, in pretty much any way imaginable. And I would use it to be lazy, I think. Just be completely honest.
I need a glass of water from the other room.
Exactly. I really don't want to get up to feed this cat right now. Let me just, here's your food in your bowl.
You realize that's why people created the remote control. So now if you could just do that with your mind, it's like, yep.
Right. But what if you left the remote control over by the wrong chair? And you had to get up to go get the remote control.
Oh, that annoys me.
Just because I have superpowers doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a superhero.
Oh, I didn't say that.
I can use it to be just an ordinary person, and I'm okay with that.
Well, and this is what would happen. Bewitched would call me and say, "Hey, I just developed this weird power. It's telekinesis," and then we'll say. 5 years later, calls me again and is like, "Hey, so I'm 600 pounds, and
getting ready to say, yeah, you don't have to walk anywhere now. Now you're floating everywhere,
and I can't quite use the telekinesis enough to clean all of my folds. So can you help get this worked out?"
Ooh, and the face that was made in the video chat.
No, I like it. That's great.
Folds.
Wow.
Well, I'm just, so Abby, what would your power and or powers be?
Shapeshifting.
Yes.
And I'm talking Loki, Norse god level shapeshifting here. Not Mystique. I could just turn into people. I mean animals and mass difference. Because as I wiggle this in front of the. Because in Norse mythology, Loki shapeshifted into a fly. So take a regular size adult male into a fly. That's some pretty impressive shapeshifting in terms of size. So that'd be that's not would never be used in a nefarious way. I can tell you that.
Yeah, as she's basing her power off of a Loki ability, never nefarious.
Never nefarious.
I'm gonna rob a bank. I could either go in pretending to be somebody else, or I can be the bank vault. They just put the money in me. Whatever.
I'm trying to think if at least according to Norse mythology, because I'm not sure if it's comic book Loki, but. Has Loki ever shapeshifted into something that was a non?
I don't know.
I don't think he's. I don't think he's ever done an inanimate object.
But I'm just saying. You said everything. I'm like, all right. It could be a sentient bank vault. I don't know. Just saying. It's weird. No. It's okay.
That's very weird. So anyway,
do you have any others that you would like? You're and immortality. Oh, okay. So you want to be Loki. Got it.
Oh, immortality. That's the double-edged sword.
Yep.
No, I remember when, Doctor Strange came out. I was like, I want to go to the Caratage School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. So, magic, Doctor Strange or Scarlet Witch, just, wiggle your fingers and stuff happens. That would be pretty fantastic.
That would be pretty sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, so for me, I would like the two superpowers I would like is I don't know how to explain it, but we'll call it. You see, I don't necessarily want to know everything, but I would love to have the ability to know all of something. As in, if I choose a topic like astrophysics, I would have the ability to be able to access that, kind of like you could say, almost like an encyclopedia, but on more of the creative side of it. But
I was going to say like the Matrix, yeah.
Sure, but
I know how to.
But to go with that, you would know everything, like all the intricacies. So like, let's say I decide I want to cure cancer, or I want to find the cure for cancer. I would know everything about this, all the chemicals, how they react together, different things, different therapies, bubble. That would be my choice. But then the other superpower I would want is to be able to forget it. Because I feel like if you had that ability, eventually you'd overload your mind. So you'd almost have to have an ability to be able to just stop it. Because otherwise I think you would go insane. So I'd be able to problem solve pretty much everything. I'd be able to create your wormholes, Ryadus. Here you go, man. You want wormholes? Boop, 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 boop. Here you go. I got it for you. Hey, you want to be able to shapeshift? Here's some genetic manipulation, some different things. Here you go, Abbey. You want to have telekinesis? Let me do a little surgery on your brain. Okay, cool. You're good to go. Bewitched. I'd be able to give you all your powers and take them away.
And he called me nefarious.
Hey,
yeah.
I'm just saying. But that's kind of what I would be. I mean, there's other things like I've talked about in the past, like perfect. I called it perfect immortality, but then the downfall to that, like perfect immortality, right? You live forever. You don't age, so because there's that aspect to it and those kinds of things. But like, what if the sun explodes and you're just floating in space forever, or you're just in the sun, or continually burning, or but not dying.
Somehow traps you under the ocean.
Yeah, that would be torture. Yeah, that'd be torture.
Yeah,
the worst
torture. Called eternal, not immortal. But yeah, same.
Well, whatever. You kind of get where I'm going with that.
But yeah, it's like Abbey said, is that double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Yes, you live forever. You can't die. You never age, and all of that. But you watch everything else crumble around you, and I think that would lead to a serious mental deficiency at some point.
Well, at some point, I would turn into your Vandal Savage, where it's like, okay, it's time to take over the world or destroy it, or whatever. Just figure things out. How do I figure out a way to actually end my life? Like that would be my goal at a certain point.
I don't know if you would go that, or if you would be Thanos in his garden.
Oh, I mean,
just keep me away from everything. Yeah, just keep me away from everything. If I don't have to watch everything and everyone around me die, at least I won't go insane.
Yeah.
So.
But then if I had the perfect intelligence, I'd be like, I really miss this person. I'm just going to pull them into my reality. Because I'd be able to figure out a way to do it. That's the whole point. You're all looking at me like a weirdo. It's okay. So.
That's just where we look at you.
That's fine. I probably am that. So next question, we've kind of, I've talked about being nefarious and different things. So let's be honest. If you had those powers or any kind of power that would be considered super, would that corrupt you? Ryadus?
I don't know if it would corrupt me because that would mean changing who I am. I think I would be very selfish with it. Yes.
So corrupt.
I don't know if it would corrupt me. Yeah. But you can't corrupt the corrupted. Once you're a Sith, giving you more Sith power doesn't make you more Sithy. So
more Sithy.
Yeah.
You're looking a little Sithy there.
Your eyes are just a little bit more yellow, and
I don't know. I honestly probably
yes.
I have to. It's who I am. Now I'm not. I don't think it would turn me into the Apocalypse or Thanos, where I want to kill and destroy everything. But boy, my life would be a whole lot better than it is right now. So
Sure it would.
one way or another.
You just wait till the government gets their hands on you. And
Yeah, but if I've got the right set of powers, that government doesn't really bother me.
Then he goes back in time and makes the government not exist. The shot's never fired.
No,
we're still part of
that's
still part of Britain.
See, that's no fun. That's no fun.
You can go live on the moon, or there's like Dr. Manhattan.
I'd kind of like that. I don't know.
Why? You have all those stupid Russian and Americans on the dark side having to bug you all the time, on the U.S. base that's up there.
Yeah. Whoa, that's another podcast for another day. So, Bewitched. How corrupted would you be? Because we were already establishing that this is going to happen.
So I feel like Ryadus kind of touched on it, where you really don't. I don't feel like I would really change who I am. And I kind of joked earlier. Okay, it's going to make me lazy. It's going to make me, people won't bother me. Like, that's one thing where it's like I will be able to take care of people. And I feel like maybe at the beginning I might let it get out of hand, but I'm one of those people where I'm very aware of my actions and how they affect other people. And I feel like I would probably catch it very quickly and lead myself back to the right path. That's the way I kind of see myself, where I would get corrupted and then I would try to fix it.
But would it be too late?
I really hope not. I like to think of myself as a good person.
Well, are you
telekinesis and teleportation? It's not like she's really killing hundreds of thousands of people with that. She could, annoy the people in her immediate vicinity, make them mad. So I think that would be easier to come back from.
It depends. Like, can you use your telekinesis?
Yeah, if she's talking,
to cut
Phoenix Force. Watch Matt's face. Scrunch style telekinesis. Yeah.
Hey, I like Jean Grey's awesome. Planet, the Phoenix, awful. Just saying.
Well, Jean Grey's telekinesis could only annoy immediate vicinity. Phoenix is the one that could destroy the entire planet. Or galaxy or reality.
Whatever. Yeah, so. Reality. A little bit of everything.
Yeah. Yep.
So Abbey, how corrupted would you get?
See, when you address me like that, then I'm like, no, I think I'm a pretty even-keeled person, so I want to believe that it will not corrupt me. I would have fun with it.
Again, once you're already a Sith, giving you just some more Sith powers, you can't be much more Sithy.
On the flip side, I think I would probably become extremely paranoid, because what happens when, like, government officials or whatever get wind of this, like, you are essentially like a demigod? Are they gonna try to capture you and figure out what makes you work? Are they just gonna destroy you because you're a threat? So having abilities would actually be probably kind of scary in terms of living in fear of being found out too. And just even thinking about the people closest to you, do you you don't know, would they accept you, would they shun you based on your abilities? Because there can be people, whatever their feelings may be, they can be complete, maybe they're really religious and they feel like, what you can do is evil. On the flip side too, maybe they think, what you can do is divine. So
yeah, could be.
Yeah, no.
I see kind of a lot of, I guess, keeping to yourself, keeping your abilities to yourself for just, I'm sure we can come up with a really long list of repercussions of
what could happen.
What could happen with abilities.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, I agree with that totally. Like, yeah, especially if it's not common, right? Like if you're the only one that, or arguably the only person that has said ability, and it's not,
or just ability. 3 people in the entire state of Illinois can do something supernatural, and you're one of those 3. Yeah. State government, local government, federal government, neighbors, just everything is going to change.
People online.
Yeah.
If someone
foreign powers would come find you and kidnap you, and
I mean, some guy believed a conspiracy that, you know, sort of like the QAnon thing, that there's this cabal of, you know, child sex predators running a ring, and a couple years ago somebody said they're being run out of a pizza joint in New Jersey or someplace on the East Coast, and the dude like grabbed his guns, hopped in his car, and drove a few hours to check it out. You know, what's gonna make like just, you know, some regular person be like, I'm fearful of, you know, to just show up on your front door.
That's true.
Or find you. You know?
Yep. I do want to make a note, though, that out of everybody here, I'm the only one that said anything that would actually be good. I said, you know, I could cure cancer. You're all like, I could do this. I could do that. I could do this.
I didn't tell you what I was going to do with my powers.
Well, they're nefarious no matter what, because it's you. So, I mean, it's already, we already know.
Like, I'm going to use it to help humanity and rule over them with an iron fist.
Look. If I cure cancer and all diseases, right, I make it so that people live longer and, like, all this stuff, I'll have more subjects to rule. Right?
I'm like, doesn't the Earth already kind of have, like, an overcrowding problem? Now
so you're just
adding
creating more overpopulation.
But I could probably, I could science my way out of that, too.
And that brings up the whole Thanos thing again, too. So you're going to have all these people who are super healthy. There's no diseases that are killing everybody, and people are just procreating like crazy because they're happy. And now you have to feed all of them and house all of them, and it's just going to be chaos.
But then I could science my way out of it. I'd science my way out of it.
The four of us here, the most nefarious is Matthew. Because eventually he's just going to have to kill off billions upon trillions of people.
Because in order to solve a problem,
ethics.
You're probably going to create another one as a result.
Yep, this is correct.
You know, not intentionally, but it's like, oh, people are living longer.
You see, but then I'll science my way out of that, too.
Now we have food supply issues, and now we have housing issues, and now we have this.
All right, Mr. Sinister.
Then I'll have to focus all of my energy into time travel. To go back in time.
So now what I'm hearing is that your superpower is actually just how to cause more problems.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then all of you would have to band. Then all of you would have to band together to defeat me. But
you're giving me my two powers.
But Bewitched is stuck on a couch. Bewitched is stuck on a couch. Loki over here is like hiding from everybody, and Ryadus is going on grand adventures throughout the entire universe.
I know how I will kill you. I'm going to flip this over to, I thought this was a really good shape-shifting kill. True Blood. I forgot if it was season 3 or season 4. The character Sam, he was a shifter, and he can turn into like any animal he had to touch it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some crazy person. He shapeshifted into a fly, flew into their mouth, and then reverted back to full-size human and exploded them.
The Ant-Man debate.
Yeah, That's awesome.
It was hysterical to see on TV. It's horrifying if you think about it in reality.
There was an issue of X Factor. And it was in, I can't remember, was it the Fatal Attraction storyline? But Multiple Man, right? So he can make copies of himself. Every time he got hit, a copy of himself would be made. Multiple Man. Well, what ended up happening is one of the, I think it was an acolyte, was some kind of, I don't know what he was. He was like some kind of reptile-looking thing, and bit his arm, and he created the duplicate inside of the other guy and blew him up. So then there's Multiple Man that just has a chewed up arm, and then there's Multiple Man that has blood all over him with like a bloody rib cage sitting next to him. Yeah. So
because I exploded a human
from the inside out.
I came
from the inside out by existing.
Yeah. So I wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more about what we were talking about earlier with the gun that just decomposes you and calls it a day. I'm talking more on the molecular level. Like you don't turn into goop, you turn into nothing. Like your atoms scatter.
You
disintegrate.
Turn into Chernobyl. Like what happened to the firefighters at Chernobyl?
Well, it took a lot longer for them, but unfortunately, that's an unfortunate event for sure. And I know way too much about it because of college. I did like 3 reports on it. I know a lot about Chernobyl. It's weird. So, kind of taking a little bit of a turn on this one.
It's getting really dark.
It's getting dark. Well, I mean, so let's get on a happier note, okay? So, what would be, in your opinion, like the best? And I know me and Abby might agree on this because we were talking about this earlier. But the best depiction of a power shown in cinema, that could be movies, TV shows. I mean, it could be a YouTube channel for all or something like that. But what are the best depictions of superpowers? So I'm going to start with Ryadus.
A clarifying question.
Yeah, go ahead.
A clarifying question on this. When you say superpowers, are we sticking this to the Marvel style superpowers or any kind of supernatural ability?
Let's just open it up. I mean, because if it's a power, it's a power.
Well, gonna throw this in here, and this may, get me laughed at, but I still think the Vader scene from Rogue One is the best depiction of a true Sith Lord finally using his abilities in combat.
It's pretty good.
Just picking guys up, flinging around, holding one guy, throwing his lightsaber, killing another one. Just, full blown, I'm tired of your crap.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably one of the better ones. Outside of that, I think they did a really good job with Thor in pretty much all of his appearances in all the Marvel movies. The lightning control, the flight, the hammer. I think Chris Hemsworth has just done a fantastic job to bring that character from, in my opinion, and I've stated this before, a lackluster Marvel character. Mythology, I love the character. Didn't really ever think the Marvel stuff was that great with him, but I just think they did such a great job with him on screen, even to the point where like his when Odin's like, "Did I make you the god of hammers?" And he finally embraces the god of thunder and is using the lightning and is jumping around, the lightning coming out of his eyeballs. I just think they did a fantastic job on that.
It does help that the soundtrack for that was amazing.
Oh yeah, Ragnarok.
That whole movie was amazing.
Fantastic.
Yes, yeah, that is. But I mean, because honestly, the first 2 Thor movies, they were okay.
Yeah.
I watched them once, but I'll tell you,
the first Thor movie, I fell in love over a long weekend.
yeah, pretty much.
I crash landed on a planet Friday night, had a girlfriend Sunday afternoon.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
And defeated a villain that was designed to destroy entire planets within moments, but yet couldn't defeat a little Nebraska town.
Hey, they're hardy there in Nebraska. A lot of love to our Nebraska listeners.
Yeah.
And
we
probably wasn't Nebraska. It's probably like Oklahoma or something.
And we don't talk about Thor the Dark World.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah.
So who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay, what do you got?
So I kind of have 2, and it might not be what most people kind of think of, but the most recent one that it kind of just blew me away. So I don't know if everybody's seen WandaVision.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to give too many spoilers in case anybody out there hasn't seen it. But as the series goes on, you just see Wanda's, like, just the sheer vastness of her powers and kind of the ease and how she does it, where, she's doing it and she can be carrying on a conversation and she's doing something, half a mile away. You don't even realize it. And it was mind blowing. It was amazing. I love that whole idea. Other one just kind of popped in my head a little while ago, and I don't know why, because we weren't really talking about it. I totally just blanked on his name, from Guardians of the Galaxy with the arrow.
Rex.
Oh.
Yondu.
with the arrow.
Yondu, thank you. I'm totally blanking on his name. There's one scene where, he finally got his fin back, and he's like, okay, all these guys just, were traitors and had me locked up and whatever. So he just goes through, and that arrow's just flying, and he's just got everybody's gone, people dropping like flies, and that was an amazing scene.
As he's casually walking to the bridge.
Yep, just walking through.
But didn't you realize that it wasn't the fin? It was always right here.
It's coming from the heart.
It was from the heart. Okay, I know he needed it.
And his heart was pissed.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very true. Very true. All right, you want to go on this one, Abby?
Okay, let's open up
Let's
this.
do it.
So, mental powers would be. I'm trying to think if we've seen good use of mental powers in like the X-Men franchise, because a lot of those characters have mental powers. So, like, in the movies, where I think it has really, really shined was the Legion TV show on FX.
Yes.
Where you had characters with like psychic and mental abilities, and how they chose to show that was far out and fun. The big psychic battle at the end of season 2.
And don't go into too much detail.
I'm not going to go into too much spoilers, but there is a big like psychic power showdown at the end of season 2. That is like probably my favorite scene.
And I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep talking about music because they were playing Behind Blue Eyes. And it was. I actually downloaded that on iTunes. Like as soon as I saw that, I'm like, that has to exist.
If you want a good soundtrack, it's always Blue. The music from Legion.
Yes, it's excellent.
Fantastic. They had a really cool cover of White Room. My sadness is it was short. They didn't do the entire song. But yeah, Behind Blue Eyes. And the actor, like Dan Stevens.
He actually sang that.
David Haller, he sang it. And then they had, I forget the gentleman's name who
played Farouk.
Farouk. And he like talks in Farsi too.
Yes.
Which is like a pretty, I don't want to say unknown language, but it's kind of like the native language to, like Iraq, I believe, besides Arabic. So,
yes.
Yeah, overall, that entire series, it does get kind of wacky and far out and kind of, a little mental.
Weird. It's weird.
But it's so well done. They even handle time travel in it during I think it had 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So the final season, they handle a character that has a time traveling ability. It was a really unique and interesting way.
Yeah, and everybody's powers in that show were. It was. I mean, there were some classical like, I have telekinesis. Like I think there was one guy who had something like that. And what else was there? There was the telekinesis guy. There was the girlfriend who, at first I'm like, is that supposed to be Rogue? Oh no, it's not Rogue. She literally would switch bodies with somebody. It was so everything was bizarre. How they portrayed it was excellent. The astral plane. Yeah, that was I didn't think they could ever do it justice, and in that show they did it justice. Everything was great. So watch that show. And even
the character of like Oliver Bird was stuck. I mean, like physically, it was like, and he was in a coma, but he was like on the astral plane, and he kind of like secured. He had like a little safe spot.
An ice cube.
It was an ice cube. He had like a room in an ice cube that he secured himself. But yeah, then there was kind of a whole. In season 3, they kind of did an episode with the astral plane there. So just, I mean, there was another big psychic battle, and they filmed it. It was a dance off.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was like a dance off, and I was like, that is so cool to show. Where it would just be 2 people in a room basically staring at each other, but then they're having this great grandiose battle or even a rap battle. There was a rap
There
battle.
was a rap battle.
There was a rap battle on the astral plane.
It was so awesome.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen Legion, it's available for streaming on Hulu, and it's just fantastic. You could just go for hours on just the hidden meaning in there, the set design, the music is fantastic.
And I would recommend with that one. I would recommend not watching more than 1 or 2 episodes at a time.
I wouldn't,
because you'll get
sit down and binge it because it's probably gonna hurt your brain.
A little bit.
trying to reconcile all what's happening.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
yeah.
So now I know what my next series is. Thanks. I've never seen it.
Oh no, it's great. So I look forward to having an entirely other podcast on that one. That would be great.
Let's all
have to let me catch up.
Let's all, if you haven't watched Legion, watch it, and if you already have, let's rewatch Legion and
have a conversation. It's worth it.
Have a conversation.
Perfect Paul might show up for that one. He's I think he's on season 2. He's like closing in on season 2. Mm-hmm. So we'll get him.
I got halfway through the first season and then turned my cable off, so I didn't get to watch it. Now I know it's on Hulu. I'll jump on it.
Yeah. So that's good stuff. Best depiction of superpowers is definitely going to be Mr. Fantastic. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. It's always terrible. Fantastic Four is the worst. It's the worst.
Come on, they've tried it 4 times. 3 times with the 4th one coming out. I don't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
I think it's 3. Yeah.
I have a little bit more faith in Kevin Feige for handling it, but the bar is really low.
It is really low. Yeah. So
I just don't care about the Fantastic Four.
No, nobody should.
Nope.
Nobody should. Well, I mean, here's the thing. If without the Fantastic Four, we don't have a lot of other things as far as comic wise.
Yeah, they're the first family, so we would not have a lot of comics. So historically speaking, in comic books, yes, but the way that they've been handled in live action, and I just don't know how some of that stuff's going to translate over. But we'll see.
Yeah. So for me, superpowers that were portrayed very well. Okay. It's not as earth-shattering on this account, but honestly, Wolverine, the way Hugh Jackman's healing abilities were, I thought were amazing, which to me culminated in Logan, basically when he's taking like minigun shots and all this other stuff, and he's getting torn to pieces when he's able to heal, right? Because in that movie there are times he can heal because of reasons. If you haven't seen it, you probably should watch the movie, just because. And then also in that same movie was Xavier's power. We're talking about like mental abilities when he's basically having that seizure and how, and I mean, I'm going to talk about this scene, so spoilers on this one. So basically Xavier's having some kind of seizure, which he loses total control of his powers, and they're in a hotel. So everybody's frozen; they can't move, and it seems like they're in intense pain. Logan is one of the only ones that can kind of suffer through it and actually move. And just watching him hack and slash his way very slowly through the Reavers was kind of awesome, in my opinion. And to me, that's like pure Wolverine right there, is the ability to just grin and bear it, even though it's probably the most awful thing you've ever had to experience ever, even though we don't get to experience it because we're not in the movie. Yep. I would, that aside, I agree 100% with Abby. That actually to me is the best rendition of Powers was Legion. So, but I had to have a little something extra on top of that.
Powers, especially Powers. It's one thing to show like Wolverine, who has these adamantium claws that pop out of his skin. That's very like physical and visual, but the mental stuff where, like I said, it'd be 2 people standing in a room. Heck, depending on how powerful you are, you probably don't even need to be in the same location.
Yeah.
And it may just look like you're meditating.
It might just look like you have Xavier with his 2 fingers on his head, just looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we give an honorable mention to the first Deadpool movie?
Yes.
The tiny hand.
Yeah.
Which then
Baby
they brought
legs.
into the second one, but I thought the tiny hand was pretty.
That's pretty funny.
Freaking funny of the
and you know what?
Regenerating powers.
Deadpool 2, a character that in the comics, Domino. In my opinion, they were able to really portray her power in a way that you're like, okay, that's what it is.
Even when they have the interview, her power is luck, and they ask her, "What's your ability?" and she's like, "Luck." And it's like, what the hell kind of power is that?
And then they display it.
Then they display it, and everything is going to shit, and everything turns up aces for her.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So,
kind of makes you want to watch that movie again. That's a good one. Awesome. So,
another one I don't think
Sarah wasn't a huge fan of the Juggernaut in it.
Well, that's because he was not invincible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
which is
I haven't
fine.
liked the way they've done Juggernaut at all on any
How
of the...
he's just a dumb brute all the time.
Yeah.
When in actuality he's
And-
way more calculating than that.
Well, not to mention the fact it's just because he's invincible. No, he has a crystal in his body that makes him that way. And the only reason he wears the helmet is because his only weakness is mental attack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah. So moving on a little bit, we're going to talk about actual superpowers. Everybody's got something, okay? Like, you might not be the best at it, right? But everybody, in my opinion, has some kind of ability, big or small, that is probably above average, right? And I'm not talking about the size of your... that being said...
This is a family podcast.
But so what are your superpowers? Like, what is something that you believe that, and we can be a little arrogant about this, right? But something that you believe is beyond normal, right? And we all have it. So I'm going to put you on the spot there, Ryadus. You've got this. I know you got something.
Probably the two things I would say is, one, I can get
He's
along
got
with
two.
just about anybody. Yeah, well, it's that, and then stress. So it just rolls off me. Like, yeah, I get stressed, but it doesn't take the same toll. Like, even in most stressful situations at work or whatever, it's whatever. It almost comes off as apathy, but it just keeps me as a pretty level 99% of the time.
Even keel.
I don't know if yeah, very even keel. I've had several people tell me that works. Like, you can't ever tell if you're mad or stressed or this, because you're just always the same way.
Are
And it's
you
like,
sure it's not apathy?
it could be. It could be.
I'm gonna note though that I can read right through that all the time, but I think that's because our super ability together is like empathy in such a way that
there are certain people that know that stress does get to me. It's just I don't let it permeate out.
Yeah. So I'm writing these down, and we will classify them afterwards, because that'll be fun. So, Bewitched, what's your superpower?
Common sense. Actually, no.
Really? Let's talk about that.
You don't have a lot of people who have common sense any day. But no, so I'm going to kind of go on to like my work experience.
That's okay.
And I feel like I have a very analytical mind. I can, like, if I have a problem in front of me, I'm very good at trying to figure out what caused that problem and then step my way through on how to fix it. The very analytical, very step-by-step
So
process.
critical thinking.
Critical thinking.
Mhm.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Good one.
I like that. Yeah, and I will attest to that, having worked with you. Bewitched was one of my, well, I won't say one of my, if there was a go-to on a question, that would be Bewitched every time. So, all right.
That makes me feel very good because I like doing my job well.
Yeah. And you do.
Thanks.
So, Abbey, what's your superpower?
Goodness.
You can
I
cook like awesome.
Oh, I feel like cooking is a skill, not an ability.
Well,
you know.
I don't know.
I'm
There's a
gonna
lot of
say
people
this.
out there.
I'm gonna say this, and
Some
this is gonna
people
get me
really
in
can't
so
do
much
that.
trouble.
Wow.
This will get me in so much trouble, but it's okay. My wife never listens to this. there are some things that she makes very well, right? But they all have very specific recipes. It is more about chemistry than it is about like actual ability, right? Like anybody should be able to do it, but my wife can't. She can't. No, she's not great at it. She makes some awesome dishes, but it's all very calculated. And
what you're saying is you brought home a slab of meat and a ton of different herbs and spices and a potato and said, "Here, make something." Probably not going to happen.
It's probably not going to be good.
So I'm trying to think the last time I've cooked for you.
It's over 20 years ago. Well, I don't know about that. Probably 15 years ago.
Probably. And then, that makes me think of another friend of mine. Like, when she comes over and spends the weekend, she goes home and her boyfriend's like, "What did Abby cook for you?"
Yeah.
He's asking about the food. How was the food?
Not how the interactions were.
Like, did you guys have fun? It's like, "Oh, what did she make for dinner?"
So besides your ability to cook.
Besides cooking, because, I can pretty much whip up something tasty with maybe not a lot of ingredients, which was very handy at like a year ago at the beginning of the pandemic. When it was some certain things were getting kind of hard to come by.
You were doing some Iron Chef stuff there, right?
Yes. But the one that kind of sticks out, and I had it happen. I've known I've had it, but I had it happen just recently. Is I don't know if you would say like animal empathy, but specifically for reptiles. Mm-hmm. And a month ago, I had to go on a business trip, and I was out in the Phoenix, Arizona area, and there is a large reptile sanctuary in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, and it's the Phoenix Herpetological Sanctuary, and so I went up there for a private tour, which was really awesome. They have something like 1,500 reptiles up there. At least 600 of them are sulcata tortoises, and so that was actually one of the interactions I had. Was I got to feed some tortoises, and so we took, we had all kinds of different veggies and fruits and stuff, and went into one of the tortoise pens, and there was one large tortoise, and I kept trying to feed her, and the volunteer was like, "Yeah, she really doesn't eat for strangers," and it's like she kind of came out of like a neglectful situation, so she seems very like untrustworthy with humans. So just after like a few minutes of just kind of being there and feeding the other tortoises and just kind of talking to her, she started I gave her a zucchini, and she started eating from my hand, and the volunteer was like, "I haven't seen her eat from like a stranger in like ever." So there was that, and then later in the tour we went to the one room where they housed a bunch of non-venomous reptiles. They had a really cool venomous room, which is a side story. Couldn't handle any venomous reptiles, but
that's probably pretty smart.
It was very cool seeing like a black mamba up close, a gaboon viper up close, just a piece of glass separating you. But we went to the non-venomous room, so they were like, you can handle some more of the certain ones, just depending on their temperament or their situation. But one of the workers there, he took out a snake, and he's like, "Oh, here, this is Arnold." Arnold was a rat snake, corn snake hybrid. Handed me Arnold. Arnold is my new best friend. Arnold hung out with me on my shoulder. Like, Arnold just hung on to me for 45 minutes. They said Arnold's really good. He's one of their ambassador animals that they bring to like schools and stuff. But they were just surprised that he would slither around like my shoulders and my arm, but he would just hang on to me. And they're like, "Dang, he hasn't even tried to like leave you yet." So I felt really sad when I had to put Arnold away. I had to put him back in his enclosure. I really wanted to take him home with me, but I didn't think the hotel would appreciate that, or United Airlines, when I say this is my emotional support snake.
Hey,
So
I just saw a skit with I think it might have been a Saturday Night Live sketch or something, where it had Chris Pratt as his character from Jurassic World.
Yeah.
And he's like, he was trying to bring Blue onto the plane.
Yes, I see that.
The rap.
It's my emotional support raptor. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've kind of have had the touch. You know, I have pet reptiles, but I've kind of had the touch with reptiles. You know, just they seem to.
You've got the touch.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You've got the
power.
Yeah.
Throw in some Transformers the movie
We'll do that podcast later.
here. So
I'm just glad someone other than Matt got it.
yes.
Cool.
My brother sometimes will put on the. I was like, "Are you listening to the Transformers the movie soundtrack?" And he's like, "Yeah."
As you should. Everybody should. That's great.
So
for me, I've got it narrowed down to 2. I have so many, right? Modesty is not, or modesty. I am modest. Anyways, my first one.
I can tell by the way he tells us that he's modest.
I'm modest.
I'm so modest.
So modest.
First of all.
Well, no.
Very humble, too.
I have 2 of them. And so I'll go with the physical one first. So okay. So I am not like a gym person, lifting weights, doing all that stuff. I have, but not like trying to get stronger and that kind of thing. But I have I don't want to say it's an unusual ability per se, but I can do feats of strength that I probably shouldn't be able to do unless I was trained to do it. Now, I will also say that I usually hurt myself, in my old age, right? As I get older, I hurt myself doing things now, but I'll use an example. So we had a drafting table at one of my apartments, and I can't remember where we brought it, but I needed to move it, and I couldn't get anybody to help me move this thing. This drafting table was 450 pounds, and I didn't know this at the time, but I just manhandled that thing into the back of my dad's truck. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I felt it. It wasn't like, oh, this is easy, but I literally just hulked it in there, and then it got yelled at by my uncle, who was like, dude, like, that's a 450-pound desk. Like, what are you doing? I don't know, I just did it, And now, for the listeners, I didn't just pick it up, okay? I was crafty with it and probably used physics to make it less heavy. But, I mean, it was just ridiculous. That, and whenever I move, every time I've moved, my wife is just looking at me like, how are you moving that thing? I'm like, I don't know, just do it. Got a strong back, I guess. I don't know. But that one is fading because I'm getting older and I hurt myself every time I try to do something now. But on another note, or another ability, I kind of can, in stressful, kind of like Ryadus was talking about, in stressful situations, right? Or emergency situations, or in moments of terror, like things that, like, I have my phobias, right? Like, there are things that I'm scared of. I can kind of shut it off and just do what I need to do. There's been several instances. I'll use, I'll use this a small story and then a more in-depth one. And Ryadus was here for this one when we were driving home from Kenosha, and there was that funnel cloud coming down. Now, I wasn't actually particularly afraid, but I looked at it. I kind of assessed the situation and realized we were going to be okay, and just decided to say nothing. That I say Ryadus was there because I kind of looked over at Ryadus. He looked at me, and we kind of came to the same conclusion. Marty, on the other hand, saw it and goes, "It's not a funnel cloud," which freaked my wife out. And we were like, "Oh no, it's fine. We're fine."
Yep.
Don't mind that green swirly cloud in the sky. It's fine.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But there was another time, similar situation, but way more dire. I was driving up to the lake cottage, and I had a canoe strapped to the top of my 82 Mercury Marquis. And on the way up there, there was a very definitive green cloud formation coming directly my way. And I just kind of kept driving because there wasn't like a warning per se, because it was a little different back then how they gauged things. But then I saw a very giant swirling funnel cloud coming down directly over the highway. And I looked at it, and again, I kind of just calculated what was happening, realizing that if I were to stop the car and, do what they tell you to do, right? That this thing was probably going to come down and right on top of us, right? Or could come down right on top of us. So it kind of wouldn't matter. Like we were whatever. So instead I decided to increase my speed a little bit and drive directly under it and get on the other side because I knew what direction it was going. I know people, if they hear that, when they hear this story, like, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, blah, 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 doesn't matter. I literally removed all the fear from my mind on that one and just focused on the goal, which was get to the other side. So yeah, that I would say that's my probably actual, superpower, putting that in quotes, is that I can kind of partition my mind and like just get things done that need to get done and not have it really affect me. I've seen a couple of decapitations in my life live. And again, situations, it wasn't like, it was like both motorcycle accidents. And it was one of those things where it's like, okay, like that just happened and it's disturbing, but I kind of have to just, shut that off and not freak out and do what has to be done. So fun times. And everybody's quiet. So let's categorize.
You just told us you saw a couple of decapitations.
Yeah, they were both motorcycle accidents. Really bizarre, and they just happened to happen like right by me. It's weird. We could talk about it on another day. What actually happened with them. So here's what we have for powers that I wrote it down. So correct me if I'm wrong. So Ryadus has the ability to let stress roll off his back, roll off like water on a duck's back, and he has the ability to get along with just about everybody. I would categorize both of those as mental powers.
Oh yeah, I would.
Any
agree.
disagreements? No, silence. So Ray has powers of the mind.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
It's at least some form of mental control, even if it is just over my own, which a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
So,
and then Bewitched has an analytical mind and critical thinking skills. So again, mental powers. So you have you have powers
I'm
of the
mental.
mind.
I get it.
You're mental. And Abbey has the ability to make awesome food and reptile empathy. So she is dual powered because she has agility, because when you're preparing food, you have to have agility, right? You got to use knives and different things. I'm stretching.
It's a real big stretch there. Yeah.
I'm stretching. But again, you have powers of the mind. We are a very mind-oriented group. And then I have super strength and the ability to partition my mind. So this is a very mental group here. Let's go change the world or destroy it. It's still changing it. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all for changing the world one way or another.
One way or another. Whether it's keeping
I like
it
to leave
as
my options open.
But by change the world, do you mean keep it in the solid state, or are we going to turn it into a gas? I don't know. What are we doing? How are we changing the world?
Is it Tuesday or is it Wednesday?
Yeah, and again with the powers that Ryadus would like to have, that's how it works, because he can just go back in time and say, "Hey, don't do that. Hey, past Ray, don't do that."
Who's on the wrong power?
I just think Ryadus wants to be a Sith.
I think he would if he could.
I do not disagree with either one of those statements.
It's a little disturbing, like how evil you would be.
See, I think
You're like, but being a Sith Lord isn't about being
Only a Sith deals in
it's
absolutes.
about being passionate.
It's I will even give you it is a very selfish path.
It's a
not
very
necessarily
it's about passion,
evil.
like the passion to just choke the life out of random people.
That person probably deserved it.
That's what all Sith Lords say as they choke their pregnant wife.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
first off, don't judge us by our weakest link.
You wait. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. That's Darth Vader.
That's Anakin Skywalker.
No. He was Darth Vader at that point.
Yes. Nope, he is still Anakin because she calls him Annie.
He
doesn't
anointed
say that
Darth
I mean,
Vader.
if someone called me Annie, I
Anakin.
would of course choke the crap out of him too.
Annie. True. I would hope someone also would force choke me if I married someone like Natalie Portman's horrible acting in that whole series. So
basically, Ryadus wants to
I'm a
use
personality person.
Ryadus wants to use the Force abilities to choke himself. And that's kind of a weird thing.
No,
I think he's got some weird.
That statement never came out from over here. You are
I think that
projecting
happened.
over there, buddy.
No, you're the one who said it. You wanted to be if you choke yourself.
No.
You know, people died of that. Guy from Kung Fu.
Yes, they have.
The guy from Kung Fu, David
Singer,
Carradine.
Yeah.
The saintly singer of NXS.
Yeah, Bewitched has a very concerned look.
Bewitched is confused.
Oh,
Okay, so let me explain. It's called autoerotic asphyxiation.
You can pull it up on Wikipedia.
Don't look it up.
Yeah, do not Google that.
The look on my face had nothing to do with the conversation and everything to do with my internet cutting out and you guys sounding really, really weird.
I think that was Ryadus using his Sith powers.
Yeah, and now you're all frozen.
And Ryadus is blurry.
Yeah, I went blurry like 10 minutes ago. And I don't know why.
I think it's because the dark side is rising within him as we speak.
I could only hope.
I'm
So-
sure
You've been pixelated the entire evening.
totally
so-
cut down 30 children.
Ryadus just vanished. So
I reset my camera.
So as we get ready to close this guy out and then probably talk another 17 hours
3 hours.
afterwards.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to try to edit this in like a day and it'll be great. So powers. I will say this. Everybody I've ever met that I've gotten to know well has some ability. Again, that's, above the norm. It could be something as simple as having drive, right? Like I have a goal. I'm going to achieve this goal. Or you could be somebody like Perfect Paul, who whatever he's actually, my power is Perfect Paul. Whatever he sets his mind to, he just becomes the best at. We'll talk about that another day. Everybody's got like an ability that they're just a little bit better or a lot better than somebody else. So find out what yours is and refine it and take over the world. So anybody want to give any plugs for anything they're doing? TeslaCon, possibly?
Oh.
Yeah, it's your
You want
opportunity.
to hear about TeslaCon? Hey, everybody.
Your opportunity to advertise.
Yeah. If you're into steampunk, whether you're steampunk or just kind of interested in checking it out, in the Madison, Wisconsin area, this November is TeslaCon. This will be our 11th year. So I believe we're one of the oldest and longest running conventions in the United States. So tickets are on sale now. The website is TeslaCon, TeslaCon.com. I believe tickets are $65, and that's for the entire weekend.
Awesome.
Check it out.
Quick question. Yeah, is this just a steampunk or is this the altered history steampunk convention?
You know
or
what?
Is it kind of a little bit of both?
I would say a little bit of both.
Okay.
Nothing.
Just for the listeners out there.
I would say nothing. Pardon me. It's like maybe I shouldn't say nothing's off. But you get people that will do very, very Victorian outfits and stuff, and you will get people that just, I guess, do all kinds of things. I'm trying to think if maybe there's a show. A popular thing in steampunk is to take somebody like Batman and do a steampunk version. A friend of mine a couple years ago, he has since retired his outfit, but he had a steampunk Iron Man.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Outfit that he did. So there's a lot of people taking. A friend of mine kind of did steampunk Alucard from the Van Helsing anime.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah, a lot of people take maybe something that they're interested in, whether it be a particular character or genre, and kind of give it a steampunk twist. So, just in general, the fandom is usually very open and accepting. It's very DIY. You know, I've heard people say, they're like, oh, I don't want to come because I don't have a costume. I mean, you don't need a costume to come, even if you just come to get ideas and see other things.
And that's what I would probably do, because I don't have anything for that, but it does interest me, because and I haven't been to a convention of anything in quite some time, so yeah, that would be fun.
So we'll see with pandemic stuff, but we are taking precautions in terms of encouraging people to wear masks and extra sanitation steps. So
cool.
But I know this is
Did
probably
you say
one of the conventions.
When it is?
What were the dates? November what?
It's going to be November 4th through the 8th. So it's going to go over the first weekend in November in Madison, Wisconsin.
Awesome.
So
thank you for letting us know about that. So Bewitched, do you have any plugs, anything you'd like to talk about? Any stores or podcasts or anything else?
Not really. No, I don't.
All right, Ryadus, it's your turn. Do it.
Yep. All right. So we are the Game Files podcast. We are out there on the social medias. It's been a little slow over the last month just due to work obligations on my part and Matthew's part. But you can find the Facebook group at the Game Files podcast. We are a public group. Today is officially the last day of the private group. So for any listeners out there that you have not transitioned to the public group, please send me or Matthew a message or check, because the invite link did go out. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at the Game Files PC, not PD as last night. Again, both of those are just kind of been a little slow lately. More of the Twitter account is where we try to do more activity than the Instagram right now. And then we are the Game Files podcast at gmail.com is our email. Feel free to reach out to us there with any questions, suggestions. If you just want to say, hey, I love the podcast, send it out there to the email or to the Facebook group.
Awesome. And I will plug my normal stuff. So we've got Top Cut Comics in Loves Park. Check them out. Great store, great service. A lot of different things that you can just look at and maybe buy something that you never even thought about. Then we also have Cataclysm Games in McChesney Park. They are I believe it's the biggest distributor in Illinois of Warhammer, if I'm not mistaken. But they also have board games, role playing materials, other things. Very friendly. Love going to their store. Very affordable. So definitely check them out. We also have Raven Johnson's podcast at Retro. They talk about retro topics. Check them out. And then also Saturday Night Live Freak Show. That is a podcast where every Saturday they review a movie, usually something that's been out for a little while. I want to say they're going to tackle some Nightmare on Elm Street, if I saw correctly. So I definitely look forward to listening to them talk about that. And I'd like to thank our guests. We'll start with Abbey. Thank you for being on. She gave the peace sign. Bewitched, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And, of course, the ever-present Ryadus.
Yep, thank you. As always, love being here.
All right. And everybody, y'all take care.
Peace.
My name is Coach Boomer. You may know me as Sonic Boom. You may not. Here's how power placement is going to work. You will step up here and show me your power. And yes, you will do so in front of the entire class. I will then determine where you will be assigned, hero or sidekick. Now, every year there are a few students, or as I like to call them, whiner babies, who see fit to question and to complain about their placement. So let's get one thing straight. My word is law. My judgment is final. So there will be no whiner babies. Are we clear? I said, are we clear?
The Fantastic Four, Reed Richards. Can his whole body stretch? I mean, every part, you know, like his...
I know what you mean. We never really tackled stuff like that in the old days. I mean, what with the comic book code and all.
The Thing. Is this dork made of orange rock like the rest of his body?
It's a superhero secret.